basically the reason I started this webinar, I got this going, is one of the biggest complaints or comments I get from clients or requests even is you got to help us manage our email better. One of our biggest time users is just answering and processing email. To that effect, I did some research. The average person's getting 105 emails a day. To me, that's too many to answer properly and to be effective with. And not only that, 28% of the average worker's time is spent processing email. That's just too many. That's just too much of a person's time. And when I think about an employer hiring someone and paying them their salary and saying, doing up their job description, they said, okay, well, I expect you to take 28 to 30% of your time just answering emails. I just can't envision that. I think it's a great tool. It really is, but we've let it take over way too much of our time. And so there's 28% of a person's time that realistically isn't being done on high-payoff activities, on the activities that really their employer wants them doing. It's important. It's an important communication tool, but I think that's just too high a percentage. So I'm going to set some goals for the webinar for everybody to, after you take and you use some of these tools, I'm hoping to accomplish these. You will accomplish these things. Number one, I want you to just reduce the number of emails you send and receive. Okay, and I've got some tips in here that are going to help you send better emails so they don't prompt multiple emails back. So I want you to have a nice clean inbox. Number two, I want to reduce the number of time you spend typing each email. So give you some tips on crafting good emails and ones that are effective and take less time to do. And number three, and this is probably one of the most important things, is control when you respond to emails. Right now, we've all been in meetings where people's notifications are going off and they're answering them then, and that distracts the whole room, and it's not really effective use of email. I want you using your email when it's right for you, not when other people want you to look at them. So number one, email is a great tool, and I think the reason it's been so effective and it's taken over as our primary communication tool is that it's great for communicating facts. If you had to communicate to somebody and call them on the phone, you had to get them there. You could leave a voicemail, but then you didn't know if they could refer back to it, right? Email is fantastic. You can communicate something simple like the office will be closed next Monday, and you can send it out to multiple people, so it only takes the time for you to send one email, but it can go to hundreds, thousands, millions of people, whatever, and they can get it on their time. It's a great, that's the best use of email there is. This is probably one of the most important things, and this particular item here is important on multiple levels. On a surface level, we want to reduce the number of emails going out. If we're communicating emergencies via email, in any emergency, people are going, what happens? You tell, hey, there's an emergency, other people are going to reply, and they're probably going to reply with questions. They're going to say, well, tell me about the emergency, what can I do? So if you're sending that out to multiple people, we're multiplying the emails that are going to have to be sent to deal properly with the emergency, and all of a sudden one email turns into 100. Okay. Again, look back at our goals. We want to reduce the number of emails, and if you're describing an emergency, people are replying to you, now you're going to be spending a lot of time, you're going to try and explain it, okay? And not only that, and when I talk about the deeper level for this one, on the surface, we just want to reduce the number of emails. On a lower level, in your organization, if the expectation is that you communicate emergencies via email, everybody has to have their notification on, and they have to answer emails or at least look at them immediately. If you're in a meeting, your notification goes off, you have to check it out because it could be an emergency and there's an expectation that you answer right away. So now, number three of our goals, you're not doing your email on your own time. Other people are setting your priorities. So even though probably 99.9% of your emails aren't emergencies, you have to check every one just in case. Okay, so this is very important, and it's so many of my clients, when I first say, okay, you got to do your emails on your own time, not just answer them every time, first thing they say, well, what if it's an emergency? I have to answer that. And so it's a cultural thing, and we need to set it up in our organizations, and there's better ways to communicate emergencies than via email. Number 3, do not use email to problem solve. Similar to the emergency issue, this is a email multiplier. Okay, the problem-solving process is very much an iterative one. We hear other people's ideas and we use them to generate our own ideas. If you send out a problem and ask people to solve it, especially if you send it out to multiple people via email, you're going to get multiple responses, and now all of a sudden you're looking at, again, one email is turning into 100. Again, back to our goals. We want to reduce, right? We want to reduce the number of emails out there. And really, email is not a good way to solve problems. You're not going to get the best solutions by far. It's going to take you an awful lot of emails to get there. And we like to reduce the number of meetings we're in, but actually a group meeting is usually a better way, a more efficient way to get to a good solution than email. This is really important in terms of, and I think as much goal number 2, how much time you spend writing emails. We've all written those 3, 4, 5 paragraph emails because you just want to get it all out there. And who hasn't read this big long email, and you get to the end and you go, okay, what am I supposed to do? What do I do with this? So be very careful when you're crafting your email and ask yourself before, okay, what's the result I want? What do I need to get? If there's answers you need, craft your email in such a way that you're more likely to get those answers. And then, similar to that, if you need an answer, so if you're sending an email, you're not just communicating facts, you're saying, okay, I need these answers. I don't need them right away, right? Again, back to my previous comments, you don't want that expectation in your organization that if you send an email, they're going to reply right away. Okay, so if you've got answers, and getting those answers in 1 or 2 days is fine, even 6, 8 hours, whatever you set in your organization. Craft your email in such a way so that you'll get those answers in one reply. So you can ask multiple questions, but be very clear on how you want answers to each of those. I think we've all sent out emails or received emails where there's 4 questions written in a paragraph, and the reply comes, and only the second question got answered. And you're okay, that's great, but I wanted answers to 1, 3, and 4, and then you get one more answer back, and again, now we're multiplying emails, which just, again, time suck, and now you're working to other people's priorities. Craft your email, put it in bullet point, please answer the following questions, and put your answer beside the question. I sometimes ask them to put it in another color so it's very clear. You're giving yourself a much better chance to get that answer in one email. And this is goal number 1, right? Reduce the number of emails we're sending and receiving. This is a big one as well. If you can get the answer via Google or your network, go find the answer. Don't send an email to somebody to get it. I think we're social beings. And I'm 43, so I grew up without the internet, and we created these habits of if you need an answer, you go ask somebody. Right? Google is the greatest resource known to mankind. There's almost nothing it can't answer. And the nice part is you get your answer right away. You send it via email, you're not sure when you're going to get that answer. You shouldn't have the expectation you're going to get it right away, so now you're waiting for your answer. So it's something to think about before you send a quick email to somebody, hey, what's the answer to this? Is that information already available to you? Because again, not only are you trying to reduce the emails you get, you want to reduce the emails other people get. Okay, this is in terms of overall productivity, you've got to decide what your priorities are. If you've got an inbox that's just absolutely overflowing, you look at it and it's all bold because you haven't looked at them and it's scrolling down beyond the screen, you're going to tend to look at the top few and say, okay, well, I'll deal with that, I'll deal with that, I'll deal with that. And now other people are controlling your priorities. And we've all had it, right? Those things are scrolling down below the screen. now you are, again, you're responding to other people's desires, their time. Goal number 3, control when you're replying. Okay, so decide what you're going to work on and when, and ideally you've got a set time you're working on emails, and that's when you clear those out. This is a funny one. We've all had those emails that get us angry. If you're like me, you've typed dozens of emails out that really proved your point and then just deleted them because you thought, okay, that's not going to get the result I want. Think back to number 4, what's the result you want? So as soon as you start to feel that in you that, okay, now I got to set this straight, you're better off putting it aside and coming back to it later when you've got a clear head and ask yourself, point number 4, what's the result I want? And if you can get it through email, that's great. Carefully craft your email in a way to get that. Put the emotion aside. The thing is here, not only are you going to reduce the number of emails, but number 2, the time. If you're typing out an angry email, I can pretty much guarantee it's going to be long-winded, and it's going to be, you're going to take a lot of time because you want to get that one just right and prove that you're right and they're wrong, and that's not really good use of your time. So when you start to feel that, put it aside and come back to that issue later if you can. Often it's best to just go talk to people when you're in that situation. Don't keep doing it by email. And again, like with other things, if other people are copied on this, now they're going to chime in because they sense the emotion, and like an email multiplier right there. Only copy those who really know. I think that's very critical. You don't want to be the person in the organization known as the boy who cried wolf. And the big problem there is if you're copying everybody in all your emails, often we think we're helping. You know, hey, they're going to be interested in this. Really ask yourself, do they need to know? Do I need to fill their inbox with this information? And because if you are using the CC too much, people are going to, your emails are going to be less important to them over time. They're going to have this series of emails from you, and realistically, they're probably not going to read them all, and then they might be missing important information from you. Okay, so really be selective of who you copy. Some of the clients I'm working with right now made the comment that they've honed that down, they've reduced the number of CCs, and they've noticed the difference in how people are responding to their emails and also just the total number. Again, we are looking at 105 emails a day. I think it's reasonable to get that down to 40 to 50. I think that's a good, manageable number. That's where I'm at right now. I was getting well over 100, and just by without thinking, oh, am I missing anything? Because, again, I have an expectation within 24 hours I'll respond to everything, and I find that 40 to 50, I can do that no problem. With social media, they all have the option of sending you an email once you get a new follower, or someone's updated their LinkedIn, or there's a new post on Facebook. To me, that kind of defeats the purpose of social media. The beauty of social media is you can go to that app or you can go to that website and see what's going on your time. As soon as you click those settings and start getting emails, now you're being distracted, right, and you're filling your inbox by stuff that you know where that is. You can go get it when it's the appropriate time. Don't distract yourself from other important stuff by getting notifications. So they all, in their settings, go to their settings, look at all the different layers, and LinkedIn's probably the worst for this because there's multiple different layers on what will send you an email. There's all the groups you're attached to, there's all the people you're connected to, every one of those different areas can be sending you updates via email. So if you find you're getting a lot, change those settings so you're not getting any. I think LinkedIn's got about 20 different options there. But Facebook, Twitter, all the same thing. And really, again, you just want to avoid that clutter in your inbox, even if you're just deleting them. If you're just deleting them, what's the point in getting them, right? Similar to that, unsubscribe. I think we've all got, we get marketing emails, which we may want, we may have said, yeah, send those to me. If you find you're just deleting them and it's never interesting to you, unsubscribe. It takes about 10 seconds, and they all have it at the bottom. It says unsubscribe. Really encourage that. I find I'm 3 to 5 unsubscribes every week, so you get on mailing lists, people buy them, and I like to choose what things I would subscribe to, and there's many I've chose to subscribe to, and then later said no, I'm not. I just ask myself, am I ever using this? Is this valuable information for me? If it's not, I unsubscribe. And again, beauty of the web, you know who it is. If you're interested, you can go find them, and you can always resubscribe. And this is the last point before we get into the chat, and this is so important, and it's really what all of the goals are leading up to. You want to clear your inbox every day, and I know some of you are sitting there right now and going, that's impossible. It'll never happen, but it can happen. And some of my clients have had 2,000 emails in their inbox and said, I can't get there. I've had them set up. Some of them have done on weekends, some just do it at lunch hour, but they'll say, okay, today I'm going to reduce it by 100. And they just go through to the bottom to the oldest one and start throwing, deleting, filing them, whatever. Get them out of your inbox. Not only is this, if it's not clear, are you going to end up using it as a task list? For me, it's the clarity of mind. If you've got this full inbox, it's always going to be nagging at you that you're missing something, that there's an important email in that huge list that you just missed. Right? And we've all had that situation where someone says, hey, I didn't know about this. And you go, well, yeah, I sent you an email 2 days ago. You get embarrassed by that. It's caused a problem. And worst case, that's your customer. That's embarrassing. Your boss, that's embarrassing. Or a colleague even. It doesn't help you in your day. And when you need to be sitting and working on important work and have a clear mind, if you're worried in the back of your mind you're missing something important, you're always going to be going back to that email. And one other point there, if that's the way you're managing your inbox, if it's always overflowing, you're going to want your notifications on all the time, because you're going to go in there and if you get emails and they're scrolling beyond the bottom of the screen, you're probably going to miss them. So give yourself that benefit, clear your inbox, and maybe a bit of a project for you to get there. But if you allocate time every day, once it's clear, you decide every day when you're going to deal with your emails, and you've got it to a reasonable level, believe me, you can do it. I do it every day, clear my inbox. There is the odd day, I'll admit it, okay, every day, so often I get to the end of the day and it's not clear, first thing in the morning, boom, that's what I do. And yeah, I never worry that there's an important email sitting there that I've missed. So with that, if anybody's got, that's the end of the actual presentation. If there are any chat questions, I'll go through here. No questions. I'm going to put up a poll, so tell me how this works. I'm curious to know, how many emails do you think you're getting every day? So that should show up on your sidebar. Just let me know if it did. If I don't get any questions, I'll just move ahead and do the wrap-up. I do appreciate the time everyone's taken to be on. I do intend to be doing more of these on different topics. I think that talking to my clients, another big one is the number of meetings they have to go. Dale asked the question, do you ever recommend using BCC? I use it very sparingly. There is a time, but be very careful, because I didn't personally, but I've seen situations where someone blind copied somebody on an email, and then it got replied to all, and that blind copy person sent it back to the other people, so someone who wasn't supposed to see the email saw it, and I was that person who saw it when I wasn't supposed to. It was an embarrassing situation for everybody. So be very careful about when you use it. Even though you blind copy someone on an email, understand that they could very well forward that out by mistake, or they could also forward it by on purpose. So there's usually that expectation of privacy, but any emails, I would never consider that it's truly private. It's like text and everything. Someone can always find that email, so don't always consider that it's private. Question from Benjamin: what do you think about walkie-talkie apps like Voxer for urgent connecting? I haven't used Voxer. That's something I'm going to research now that you've sent that. But I think what you're saying is, so people don't have to use email, it's a separate, I'm assuming a separate notification, or so that they know, okay, this is urgent. That sounds like a great idea to me. I think if in an organization you've got an expectation that this is how we deal with emergencies and everybody knows it, then that's perfect, because you can be in that meeting, and if it's Voxer or if it's some other app, and you know if that goes off, it's truly an emergency, people understand it. If you're looking at 20 emails during a meeting just in case, that's distracting for everybody, and it's not good. So I'm going to look into that. I'm not familiar with that, but it sounds like it's a good idea. Okay. Well, if there's no other questions, I'll just go ahead and start wrapping up here. I do thank everybody for their time, and I do want to just tell you about some programs I've got coming up. I've got the Effective Personal Productivity going in Belleville, Cobourg, Ottawa. If you want more information, I'm going to put my contact info up here. Or if you're not in one of those areas, but you would like to get into a program in your area, give me a call. I can set up public programs in your area, or it might be appropriate to do a one-on-one program. So those are the upcoming ones. For those programs, I believe if you improve your people, you improve your business. That program is the same process used with CEOs and executives in 70 countries, 25 languages. We'll get measurable results, productivity improvement, enhance your leadership, and achieve some both business and personal goals for you. In that program, we'll include a profile evaluation, which is both the aptitude and personality assessment. We do 2 2-hour goal-setting strategizing sessions, and then 8 2-hour coaching sessions. So if you're at all interested in that, if I can help you out, give me a call, send me an email, set up a consultation, or to register for any of my programs. And with that, I'll wrap it up. Again, you'll get a link for this that you can replay the presentation, the webinar, at a future date, or check out my YouTube channel to see it again. So thanks, and I will be sending out messages for future webinars. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.